What's up, guys? Engineering Aquariums, episode number 13, coming at you. Your host, Sean. We're going to be talking about some changes I made to my tank, looking at the new water change system I have, looking at my dosing system, and then the top here, as well as some other updates. So we'll start at the top. I just used this egg crate from Bulk Resupply, and then this egg crate is actually from Amazon. It's just some leftover stuff I had from a different project. And so that has this like mesh underneath it. It's in 3 sections, which allows me to easily access the main part of the tank without having to screw around with the return lines. Just trying to put the side ones back on is much harder than putting the main center one back on. I do have 3 hoses in the back. You guys know 2 of them. One of them's for the bean animal, one of them's for my water change, and the other one's gonna be for my ATO. So there's some egg crate back there that was supposed to go over the slits to stop fish from swimming back, but it actually turns out that these side ones are much deeper. So I put on that side I put egg crate. I actually fixed this yesterday, and on that side I put a comb. So let's see if you look through those slits, it looks like a comb because that's what it is. So one issue that I realized was when I wedged my comb in there, I separated the seam on my overflow box, which means if my power ever goes down for more than probably like 20 minutes, water's gonna start ending up on the floor. So I'm getting some Reef Safe super glue and epoxy, and we're gonna just go hard and patch the shit out of that. I use so much silicone, but it is acrylic, so I probably should have welded that together. My bad. Okay, so other things. Dosing pump. I've got my Jebao DP-4 all set up. I will be doing a full review on that. The unboxing was pretty boring, not gonna lie. So we've got, the DP-4. It's got 4 dosing heads. It's the cheapest on the market. It's made by Jebao. The instructions are all in Japanese, but online there's some good ones. As you can see, I have my mini fridge. I don't know if I've talked to you guys about this, but this is gonna have my food. Right now I just have Acro Power in there. The mini fridge isn't even on. Acro Power doesn't need to be refrigerated. I just wanted to get it set up for when I do get food. Right now, I mean, I have 1 acro and my nutrients are high enough that I'm honestly dosing like 1 milliliter every week or something, just to kind of do something with this 4th channel. It feels kind of boring not doing anything with it. I will be getting a second dosing one when I set up my in the back. You might be able to see I have my copepods and phytoplankton jugs back there. I'll be getting some new supplies for those, and then the next month or so when I get paid. So we've got my calcium, alkalinity, magnesium, and then Acro Power. And so it's Acro Power, magnesium, alkalinity, calcium. And so that goes over. These sticky tie things, don't use them for anything that's on like surfaces over here on the side, especially rough surfaces. I think I talked about this in one of my videos, but they don't really work that well, especially on OBS board. These I'm finding work pretty well, but when you hammer them in, it's basically tapping on the glass. Is essentially like same concept. It's not great for the fish, kind of stresses them out. These go straight down. And I did have this actually on that crossbar. I made sure that this cross beam was long enough for it. The one thing I didn't account for was my water level when the sump, or when the power goes off. The water level rises and actually touches the bottom of these tubes. Now for magnesium, Acro Power, and as far as I could see, calcium, it didn't actually do anything. But the alkalinity instantly started crystallizing and falling out of solution, and so then it literally just fell out of the tube, and my pH spiked a little bit. I probably got slightly more alkalinity than I was hoping for in that little bit. My alkalinity is slowly going up. We're talking like 0.2 a day, 0.3 a day. I'm just gonna let that slowly rise until I'm happy with it, and then wind down the doser. Yeah, so let's see. So yeah, get your things up and nice and high. This one has 8, which is nice because I'll be having another dosing thing, and maybe even a third, depending on these. Like these are actually relatively cheap compared to like the dose from Apex is $200 for 2 heads. This is like $70 for 4. So yeah, I mean it's not Apex compatible, but it does everything you need to. So let's go over that quickly. It'll dose from 0 to 24 times a day, from 0 to 9,999 milliliters each time, and it'll you can tell it for those 24 times a day how many, like exactly what minute you want that to kick on at. You don't have to tell it when to turn off because you told it how many milliliters, and as long as you just calibrate it, it knows. When Yeah, so calibration was easy. All that stuff online, super easy to look up. With your cords, make sure that they're vertical. So if you get any air bubbles, they go up, and you're not dosing air bubbles. Now, if you're dosing like a lot, and your dosing pumps aren't these, and they're like they pump a lot faster or something, the air might just get swept along anyway. But with these, I'm dosing so little at such small amount of time that it just rises up, and then I just knock it over to here, and eventually when there's enough air bubbles I'll just pop one of these. I'll do something, I'll figure it out. But definitely try to minimize dosing air bubbles. Try to minimize air bubbles at all. I had 0 when I first like got this in, but then with like the slight moving things that I have to do, I might just purge these one day. That's probably what's going to end up happening, is I'll just take these out of their holders, put them in like a jar, and just manually dose like 100 mils or something. So that's the dose. Oh, it also, you can skip from 0 to 30 days in between each day of dosing. So you can have it dose 9,999 milliliters 24 times in a day, and then skip 30 days and then do that again. So if you want to do like monthly water changes with it, like you could, I guess. That's one thing that I might look into, is using it for water changes. There's so many systems out, there's so many different ways to do it. That's kind of what this channel's about, is like finding the best for each individual, because like I'm gonna go over the scenarios where each one would make more sense for each individual person. Of course, if you have like a 500-gallon tank, doing water changes off of a dosing pump this small, not gonna work. But if you're like mine, 60 to 80 gallons, depending on how you do the math, it could totally work out. So next thing we're going to talk about is the water system. So with the water system, we have my manifold coming off the main. I've been over this part, but this is new. So this isn't actually an adapter, though this will be one. This is just a plug with this thing kind of just sitting in it. So there can't actually be water through. I can just take that out. And so this is going to get screwed into an adapter that I'm getting. And so that allows it to go into basically RO tubing, RODI, which is really cheap, really easy to run. And I'll show you where this leads in a second. So that goes up and is controlled by a solenoid on my Apex. So with the ball valve, I'm allowed to either shut it off if I'm gone for long periods of time, or just not doing water changes. And then with the solenoid, and I can adjust its flow rate with this. And then with the solenoid, I can adjust how long it's on. And then we'll go over the rest of my water system in a second on the other side of the wall. But briefly, I did hook up my skimmer to some airline tubing, ran it through the wall. I am in this room a lot with the window, so the door's usually closed, and then with Colorado weather, the window can't usually be open, though it is today. So I'm usually in here studying, trying to get stuff done, so I usually close the door, and then I'm just breathing in air that's not really getting recirculated much. So I'm putting it in the other side. We'll see if that does anything. If it makes it worse, I'll just remove that, but we'll see. My drums are the same. I will be getting a float valve for this one. The float valve that I had broke. I don't know if I went over that in the last video. This looks exactly the same, but it actually has more sensors in it. One of them I tied around the line that comes off of here, and so I can tell when the water is too low for the pump to hit, for the pump to work. And that's actually good because if you drill it into the bottom of your tank, that's definitely an option. If you have an external pump, that might be your best option. But mine's an internal pump, which means that if I drill it in there, first of all, if there's a leak, I'm fucked. Second of all, if the pump gets lifted off because the cords get pulled or the tubing gets pulled or something, then it'll just be sucking dry, and I'll think that it'll be fine, but it's not, and then my tank will run dry, and salinity will get screwed up, and air blah blah. A bunch of stuff goes wrong when your ATO gets screwed up. So then we've got over on this side my beta fish. He's doing good still. I took the quarantine tank down. I moved the copepod setup, even though it's dead, to behind there. And so this has a T and just a really easy to turn. If I can figure it out. So it's just super easy to turn hose barb. It'll allow me. I'll end up using that blue tubing because that's my current ATO setup. But I'll be using that blue tubing off of here when I need it to either fill that up, fill up buckets, wash stuff out, whatever it may be. And right now I just have this on a switch back there, but I need to figure out a better system where if anyone has an idea on how I can get my ATO, which has a plug that allows electricity to pass through when the sensors are not underwater, but also be able to turn it on when the sensors are underwater. If someone can figure that out, that'd be great. I was thinking about doing like a reverse split on the outlets and having two inputs. But if you double load it, it'll fry, and they don't really sell those, so I kind of have to manufacture it, which is risky because electrical circuits. But anyway, I'll figure that out. Oh, I guess quickly with the tank before we go to the other side. My last video I talked about not chasing numbers. Let your tank guide you through the world of numbers, and that I do mean, like, go ahead and try to follow a number, like definitely keep stability. That's the biggest one. But if your tank, like if your torch coral is pulled in, your alkalinity is too low. That's what mine is. If your zoanthids are, if all of them are like slightly closed, and nothing's been like moving over them, your salinity is screwed up. What is that? Oh, that's literally part of my torch coral that's blowing around. I don't think he's gonna make it. He's lost a lot of his like little limbs. I'm probably just gonna have to get a new one. But anyway, if your pulsing zanias are like looking sad all the time, your tank is so screwed up because zanias don't care about anything. If your corals are white, they had too much light. This guy was somewhere else. If they're brown, which is what the base of this is, they have too little light. So we're gonna try to figure out how to make this coral happy. I really don't know. It might be the alkalinity that's screwing up some of his coloration as well, but it's not. The alkalinity's not swinging. It's just low, and I'm slowly raising it back up. So we'll see. Yeah. So I mean, watch your tank. Definitely take a few minutes out of your day, guys. Look at your tank. Just observe it. Like, we're in this hobby to look at the beauty of this stuff. Like, don't let that go to waste because it's a lot. Like, it is a lot of work, and it's definitely fun working on your tank. Don't get me wrong, but like, stop and enjoy it. Pay attention to stuff. I realized yesterday that my Yuma is actually starting to split. You can't really see it, but directly behind it, the green mouth, there's kind of like another like darker spot that actually looks to be like another mouth growing back and off because this thing's actually growing pretty decently. So that's pretty cool. We're gonna take a little trip to. So this comes in, main line in, it goes into my RODI. This is my airline. It just has a check valve just so it doesn't fall back into the fucking wall. Yeah, so this goes over. Then two lines come out. One of them is the RODI return, which is the top one. The lower one is off of that T that I have on my return line. So those run up. I didn't have this T until I ran this whole thing this way, but I did have my RO line just running across the floor under the door, and that was like not great. So now it runs up, over, through, back drain on the left is the RO, so I just go straight in. The one on the right is my pump. I can disconnect that if I want, if I figure out how much time and whatever it takes. Until then, I have a 2.5 gallon mark, and that's my old float valve, but it's just siliconed in because I kind of ruined this bucket anyway, and the float valve won't be good for anything else. So like it's just siliconed, so I don't even need the ferrules or anything like that. I probably could have done that with the other one, but it's a lot more water going through that one, and it's not over a drain. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hit that like, comment, subscribe, ask some questions, answer some questions. Let me know how your guys' tanks are doing. Yeah, peace.